I'm trying to get your green screen. Hold on, let me find it. She be getting lost down there. Okay, there we go. Straighten it up. That's irritating me a little bit. Um, Stay right there, because I believe I should have. Okay, who birthday is today? Oh no, that's tomorrow. Snoop Dogg and Kamala Harris. Okay. Okay, this is we go with Mrs. Mind Games. Um, okay. Um, it's no, they be doing too much for me. Um, let me go back to. Let me go back to calendar. Let me go back to. I need. It's. Oh damn! I need. Okay. Uh. Okay. Okay. Let me see if I can. Let me see. Um, mm, I was trying to figure out what account that was that I was using on X. Um, okay. Where you sending this? Why are you sending that to? Look, I'm like, why you sending that to iCloud? Do you need Face ID or do you need a password? Oh, you just need to touch. I forgot I got that. Did you get that confirmation code that they sent, or are you still tripping that I don't have? Um, let me see. That I disabled my cloud account. She might be in junk. See what I mean? That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, where you sent that code to? Go back to what she sent that code to? iCloud. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, but I ain't get it, and that's why I stopped using iCloud. Because as soon as you stop paying that little fee, they want to disable you getting emails. Because, yeah. Who is this? That's me. Right. I'm like, that's me. See? And now I can't even get this damn code. I'm like, what's this? Hold on. Okay. But they not even asking me if I can, if you can send it via text. That's what's blowing me. I'm like, John, text it to me. Because, right. She ain't got no code. She ain't even got no code in the jump. I'm like, oh, that's exactly why I don't fool with iCloud now. Sign out. Let me go over here. I don't even want to send it. But then you're going to be trying to contact me via iCloud. Oh. Let me see. See what I mean? I think it's Command C. I don't know why I wanted to wait to right now to do this. Oh my God. I'm like, you need to do this on your own time, man. It's nice to hear him in the back. Look, I hear him. Let me see if it's for real or not. He could just be switching spots. Let me see. I'm finna go cut that dryer off. And then we're gonna get started here. Come on. Yeah. Okay. Oh, 3 thumbs up already. Thank you for the thumbs up. I'm trying to figure out if he was actually up or not. Shout out to the 3 thumbs up already on YouTube. Okay, you're gonna have to come back over here to your side, ma'am, because as you can see, we. Oh, excuse me. I do gotta get up and cut this dryer off. And then we're gonna do a little quick little recap, and then we're gonna get situated. I'm listening. I'm just checking to see. You may need help switching positions. Scoot your back just a little bit so I can go cut this dryer off. Excuse me. Trying to figure out if I need to pee before I get started. Hold on real quick since I'm up. See if I got a little pee in there. Let me check. They're gonna deal with me, you know. You never know. Let me check. Let's go ahead and get this party started, right? I had to pee real quick. Let me turn you around just a little bit. Scoot you over just a little bit. Slide the table back just a little bit. We're gonna have to get me a little water. Let's do a little recap real quick, shall we? Can we do a little recap? Let me cut her dog. She's so loud. My hand's wet. Get that charger break. Get that charger break too. All right, we're starting at 10:39. Feel like I should start with that banana. Give me a little extra assistance here at the beginning. I ain't really that hungry to be quite honest. Shall we begin? What was yesterday? Pills and potions. Right? Chapter 3. A real little short snack of a chapter. Pills and potions. Molly. Lean. Bullying Zaytoven around. Spiraling. Basically. What was the episode? Did we get an episode? Let me take the cap off, y'all, because my head will start hurting. And shout out to Twitch, because we did retwist our hair live on Twitch earlier today. So we were able to be a little productive on the back end today in these live streaming streets. So we did complete that task. I believe I still got my, thank you for the thumbs up. My glasses. Was there a specific episode? I guess we were talking about one time at the studio, or y'all over too many to keep up with. If you ask me, it's just all over the place. We're doing our best to keep up here. With the episodes and the triggers, but let's just dive right in. We're on chapter 4, Ice Cream Fever Dreams. Let me slide you over just a tad. The first time hold on before I get started, because she got like 2 pages of a quote here. Harmony Korine, however you want to pronounce it, honey. The first time I spoke to Gucci on the phone, he was in jail. It was probably like 2011. I wanted to cast him in Spring Breakers. Obviously, I had been following him for a while with all of his early tapes. And I had been a fan for a long time leading up to that. Then we reached out to him. I met him in Atlanta pretty soon after he was released. He was still in trap god mode. Since the very beginning, he was so much a part of his music and the persona, and there was nothing that wasn't authentic about him. He was guwap. It wasn't like he took a cape off. At the same time, there was something also very sweet about him. There's the mythology that surrounds him. There's the music, and there's the lore that surrounds him. But there's also something that's in the music as well, like a comedic element, where, he also has a sense of humor. He's hyper intelligent, dimensionally intelligent. He's playing chess, and at the same time, he's also really a core artist. I think a lot of people forget that at his core, yes, there's the mythology and there is the trap side of things, but he's a pure artist. He's constantly creating. There's a complexity to Gucci. That's why he's such an interesting person. I've been with him at times where I can see a switch go off. I've seen that when someone has said something to him, or there's a situation or something, and you can see him go from one extreme to another, and like a hair trigger, very quickly you can see him become another person, like a classic villain out of a film. It's like he goes street. I guess that's like a survival instinct, maybe. I believe she's probably talking about that bipolar. You know, I'm just saying. Sounds like she's referring to that element of bipolarism. And so, I'm assuming he's just having to adapt to his environments. I'm eating them Ritz now. Still got a few Sargentos left, Kobe Jack. But he's adapting to his environment, obviously. So now we have this instance where when you meet him, he may be sober. And, you kind of get that genuine personality from him, and then you never know if he's smoking the weed. That may be a different side of him. He done popped a Molly. That may be a different side of him. He's on the lean. That's also another side of him. So you have these different personalities that not only he's jumping through and he's utilizing, over consuming, if you ask me, but then of course you're meeting people in the industry as he's progressing in his career, and so you're like, oh well, he cool, and whoever this chick is, but he also had this side to him. So the way I always interpreted it, that he's been through his own personal Vietnam. He's been through things and seen things. It's obvious. It's also in the music. That's why people love the music. Because he can go so deep into that. It's the thing of having lived through it. And also not just lived through it, but also being at the top of the food chain. It's like a soldier. And there is that mode in him. The eyes are the first thing in him that you notice. It's like they go black and like cold and hard. It's almost like his appearance completely shifts. It's very apparent, and there's no denying that he can very easily become another person. It makes sense that lean accentuates that. I'm sure in a lot of people, that's a reaction. But it was almost like a character that someone would create. But at the same time, it's Gucci. So you have to process it through all the lore and the mythology that comes with it. Interesting. No, that's, hey, listen, that's pretty interesting. A character. I found that very interesting. I understand that there is this big part of him that loves the pressure. I remember once he came down. I think he played a show at a strip club in Nashville. We drove a bus down and he had a crew. A lot of younger guys were with him. I remember that bus ride because it was the first time I had ever heard of the Migos. He was telling me about these kids from Atlanta called Migos and how great they were. And I'll never forget, they were sitting on the tour bus and everyone was like getting zonked. I don't know what zonked mean, but let's keep reading and see if we can get some context. They were watching these bootleg gangster documentaries. I think you can find these types of things on YouTube now. A lot of times people just have music in the background, but they were just playing these loud docs about gangsters. And I'll never forget the sounds of bullet shots were ringing on the film. It was like at an ear-deafening level and was giving me such anxiety. The way a guitar person might go and listen to ambient music and light incense. The gunshots ringing out were almost like his background music. But that's how Gucci would relax. This is how he would unwind. It was a state of unrest, though, right? It was a state of existence because he was so in it. He was so in it, and the music was so much a reflection of that. It was like that's what he wanted. He wanted to almost live inside of it. There's no way you can make the music that he made back then and be in a healthy state. Uh-oh. Oh. Well, thank you for that clarification. Thank you for that clarification. She said there is absolutely no way that you could make the music that he was making back then and be in a healthy state, physically, mentally, financially, psychologically, spiritually. Interesting. The interesting thing is that era of Gucci, that music that he made, is the thing that all of these kids fetishize. I don't know why she chose that word, but it says fetishize. I mean, we know what it means, but it's like, fetishize. That's the era where he kind of designed the blueprint of what trap would be, or the model of trap music. The pictures he was painting, the sound, the things he was doing with Zaytoven and OJ, the whole thing really became the template. I don't think you can make that music without having one foot in both worlds. He's an anomaly in that way, where there is really no one else like that. He's really a mix of all of that stuff. He's got the street life, he's a businessman, he's a hustler, but he's a pure artist. So you have all of the things that artists deal with psychologically that are mixed in with the street life. He has the ability to be both in it and then rap it in a way that I had never heard before. I visited him at the, is that Terre Haute Correctional Facility, where I spent the day with him. I saw the transition. It was like a year before he was out. At that point, he was already getting help. He was off all that stuff. He was very clear. Physically, he was in shape. His mind was sharp, and it was a lot of just talking about life and what he was going to do. And the thing that's interesting is, you could think when someone's locked up that they're going to just say, I'm going to do X, Y, Z when I get out. I can change, all that stuff. But he implemented it in a way that was like miraculous and in a way that I had never seen. I would have never thought that the person that went in was the person who came out. And that was Harmony. Corinne, ma'am, however you want to pronounce it. Okay. Harmony. We don't know who she is, or look her up, Google, I guess. She said somebody, she was trying to cast him in the movie Spring Breakers. So obviously, you know. Well, Harmony reminded me of that time on my tour bus watching documentaries about violence. I had to take a moment. I remember it happening. But not how it made me feel. If your brain is fired up, you're supposed to calm it down. Maybe it's quiet time, low light, or even calming music. It's certainly not the sound of loud gunshots keeping you on high alert. Loud noises and booms can give someone war flashbacks to where they nosedive into corners like they're escaping a hidden bomb. My body was reclining to those sounds as my mind was repeatedly triggering itself. Ooh. Slow down on the ribs. Some might argue there's a comfort to familiarity. In this case, it's the familiarity of chaos. But what I didn't know was that I was pushing myself to my limits over and over again. I had given up. There's a duality that comes from defeat. On one hand, it had gotten to the point with me where I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't look the same, I didn't talk the same, I didn't act the same. Everyone saw it, yet only a few people addressed it. And I didn't know how to fix it. So in that respect, I accepted defeat. This was who I was then. On the other hand, I was a superstar. I was more famous than I had ever been in my entire life. All of those things that I said I was going to do, be successful, make a lot of money, sign artists, that was all happening. So even if my body was breaking down and my brain wasn't working to full capacity, there was still a part of it saying, hey, Gucci, look at all this stuff happening. Maybe this is all worth it. For a good while, it was. Checkered in, though, was me having this up and down relationship with the media where they love my music, but they also love talking about everything I did wrong. And instead of fighting them, I let them defeat me. They won. I was going to be the villain. The villain everyone still loved somehow. My core fans weren't deterred by any of it. The higher ups in the music industry might have been, but the people on the ground supporting me, they stuck by this new character. People had no idea that I wasn't right. They had to. But it came to be like it all came with the package. I was doing sporadic stuff. I was acting out of pocket and nobody was outwardly encouraging it, but they were entertained. Break. Give me a break. I guess we can kind of understand where he's coming from as far as like, trying to manage it all mentally, physically, psychologically, emotionally. I can understand where he's coming from, because I mean, what shall we expect? I believe that everyone has, for the most part, sort of like described that moment, that hurdle of trying to adjust to fame, which I'm assuming there's an adjustment to it. Like we've kind of heard that from a lot of people. There is this sort of adjustment to fame. Now, obviously, with rapping, it's a little different. But then remember, I believe he said that earlier in a chapter, especially with the lean drinking. I believe like weed is pretty normalized, even before rapping. But the popping pills and the lean is kind of one of those things where, like you said, once you get into the lifestyle of it, you kind of see everyone sort of partaking in different things like popping pills, drinking lean. Everyone has a different reaction to it, obviously. And so he obviously didn't know what his reaction was going to be, I guess, initially. Maybe there were some underlying issues before the pills got involved, before the lean got involved. We talked about that earlier as well, in regards to undiagnosed trauma, stuff like that. So we do understand, obviously. We do sympathize for sure, because they just be out here experimenting with any and everything, Lord. Bless their heart. Not knowing what's going to happen. And now you have to sit back and you have to reflect on it all, which is therapeutic in its own. Listen, he different, I'm gonna just say that much. But we got about 10 pages of chapter 4, so let's just keep to it. I was a showman, so I might as well give them a show. I never liked the lights in those office conference rooms, so they do something to my eyes. Artificial lighting. You can't always wear shades, and sometimes they don't even help. People start talking, and the noise starts building. I was supposed to be there to talk about some more sponsorships and some partnerships for me. Music, my artists, everybody. They don't want you here. I whispered to myself. Yes, they do. Well, they're gonna try and rob you. They're paying everybody more money. So I started yelling. Here's an episode. Maybe I was drowning out the voice in my head, or maybe I was listening to it and letting everybody in the room know they weren't gonna rob me. Everyone started staring. I got self-conscious, and so I started yelling more. My reaction to simple questions was not proportionate to the ask itself. I started offending people, and in my mind, I was still going to win because I had the fans, right? Well, that didn't really go as planned, even though everyone was still tuned into what I was going to do next. I started missing show dates. I don't even know what else I was doing, but I simply didn't go. Maybe I was back in the studio, cutting more tracks that I would be paid to perform and then be a no-show. Or I was just out robbing more people for more money to keep building. Okay, let's take a break, Lord. Ooh. Child, he be triggering me, honey. He be triggering me, because remember, we had experienced some anxiety a minute ago about people wanting to harm him. And we didn't know where it came from. It just came out of nowhere. People trying to harm me. I'm paranoid. I'm like, what? Why people trying to harm you? Okay. Child, you know that karma hit different on him. But allegedly, child, he was out here robbing people. Most of all, I was just too high to function. I'm glad he's talking about it. I'm definitely glad that he's talking about it. Because a lot of people need to hear this. A lot of people need to hear this one here. Let me sit up. I am in the process of manifesting me a more comfortable chair. Most of all, I was just too high to function. Here were all of these opportunities, and I just squandered them. I wish somebody would have told me, or I would have told myself, that the money I was leaving on the table was more money than the money I was making from pulling pews on people. I mean, if somebody would have told you, you probably would have yelled at them, because the voice in your head probably would have said, whatever. And then if you would have told it to yourself, then you would have started hollering at yourself because so it wouldn't have made any difference anyway. Um, if my conscience wasn't going to take over, the math surely would have. If my conscience wasn't going to take over, the math surely would have. You started screaming at people at the conference room. We couldn't even talk about numbers and the math because here you go. You showing up to the meeting inebriated. In the fall of 2009, I checked into rehab. Again, the opportunity didn't stop coming, though. The opportunities didn't stop coming, though. So I had to keep chasing them. My mixtape, Wasted, the prequel, had just dropped, and so did the title track. I had an album coming too, so I snuck out of rehab to go back and forth to the studio to record. I was riding a wave, and no rehab was pretending to dry out. No rehab or pretending to dry out was going to get in the way of me and my money. Lord, if we have learned any lesson thus far by page 77, is that all money ain't good money. Never have this type of a hunger for money. It ain't worth it. Not when it comes to my sanity. I like my sanity way more than I like money. I'ma just put that on the table. I love my sanity way more than money. So sorry. It's just not worth it. It really ain't. It really ain't. Because then look, you done missed out on your whole 20s, mid-30s, and then you got all this unresolved trauma. You ain't apologized to nobody, but please, we got too many pages for chapter 4 to be deep diving. Keep moving. Keep moving. I was booked to perform at the BET Hip Hop Awards in Atlanta a few weeks later. That wasn't something I could just sneak out and do, though. I had to bring someone, like a chaperone, to watch me. I got on stage, performed, and then I left. The irony, though, is that I performed Wasted while I was heading right back to rehab. Living life high every day, click wasted. Sipping on purple stuff. Rolling up stanky. A walking paradox, exactly. A hypocrite on stage. Everyone chanting the hook back at me. Wasted, I'm wasted, so wasted, so wasted. BET had me record a PSA on air along with the performance. I want y'all to know that I do make party records, and it's all fun. But on a serious note, I'm taking my own sobriety very seriously. And this is for real. It's coming from your boy Gucci. Be safe. Did I mean it? I don't know. I had to say it though. And then I was in the car headed back to rehab. Everyone else got to go to the after parties. Here we go. Here he go. Here he go. He worried about what everybody else doing in the after parties. They got to mingle. They got to have fun. I had to return to my bed. Exactly. Bye. Go lay down. On December 8th, 2009, I released The State versus Radric Davis. Just as I left rehab and entered jail again. While I was in rehab, I was sentenced to 12 months for probation violation. Exactly. I hadn't done my community service, but most of all, I'd failed my drug test. It was my first major label release, and I spent it behind bars. We had cut the third single, Lemonade, right before I went into rehab. We were at the Palms Casino in their $25,000 suite. It comes with a recording studio. Oh, oh. And I recorded the song there, where I was just saying things. I wasn't even thinking. They had to later piece the song together in the studio because my mind was just going everywhere. And the lyrics reflected it. And while the platinum plaques started stacking, I was experiencing none of it. But my demand was still high. When I got out of jail in the middle of 2010, I was angry, really angry. My drugs were a feast or famine, where over the course of a year, I was in this tidal wave of long benders, followed by stretches of drying out. My body was yelling at me. On top of that, here I was on probation again. So I couldn't travel like I wanted to. And in my mind, I was working so hard on this career. Meanwhile, everyone else was getting to celebrate it. And I was not enjoying the spoils because I was either in rehab or in jail. By that September, I was scheduled to attend the MTV VMAs and walk the red carpet. In the days leading up to the show, I was drinking, I was drugging, and wasn't sleeping. We were out in Los Angeles, so with all of the pre-award show events, I wasn't gonna just sit in my hotel room. Not when I felt like I'd missed most of my career in the last year because of either rehab or jail. No, I was gonna have my fun no matter what. After all of this, I wasn't denying myself that. When it was award show day, I looked like myself, I guess, whatever this version of myself was. It was 95 degrees in LA. Yet I was in this thick black zipped leather hoodie with matching leather pants. I had on my big ice cream chain and my shades. But again, I was angry. Gucci Mane showed up to the VMAs, as far as everyone could visibly see. But that wasn't Gucci Mane on the carpet. The heads of Asylum at the time were Todd Merkout Moskowitz and Joey Manda. And they were there to meet me at the red carpet to give me my passes. I pulled up and looked around. Police were everywhere. They're here because they don't trust you. Nah, I said out loud. They just here to keep the artists separate. They're here to keep you separate. People got beef with you. Don't forget that. They might not even let you in. Y'all gonna fucking let me in. I asked the police directly. I don't even know how I got away with that, but I said, F y'all, I mumbled as I walked to the carpet. As I got escorted in the front of the photographers, the camera lights started flashing and people started yelling my name. Nobody can see under the shades that I don't know what to do with my eyes. They're all looking at you. Give them a shot. I had about 10 grand in my back pockets. I pulled it all out and I threw it in the faces of the police, the cameras, people, the press, everybody. As the hundreds floated around the air like tiny green wings, they were replaced by people's arms flying into the tornado of bills. Some flapped around catching money while others dove to the ground, scraping up the carpet. They looked like a flock of angry birds, devouring seeds in the park. While we Too many voices, honey. Too many voices, honey. Gotta chill. Gotta slow down. I mean, jeez Louise, relax. They look like a flock of hungry birds devouring seeds in the park. It gave me some brief satisfaction. But by the time they'd all left, the money was all gone. There weren't even photos of it because everyone was too busy taking the money to snap a picture of it happening. Flock of Flame was standing to the side of me and he looked stunned. He had never seen me like this before. It was like I walked in cool and then suddenly I wasn't. I just couldn't stop. I kept walking up to people and the fear in their eyes only made me more aggressive. Look at how scared they are. They don't trust you. Nobody wanted you in here. But you're here now. Give them hell. Give them all hell. I couldn't calm down. I was rude to everyone I talked to. I don't remember any faces but Katy Perry's. Her big blue eyes were popped out as I was storming through the backstage area. Waka kept pulling me, and I was getting more and more upset. I realized now that he was just trying to protect me. By the time we sat down, I looked around and it felt like all eyes were on me. I was seated with Waka and Master P. While we were watching the show, that's when the shame hit. You really made a fool out of yourself. I felt tears forming under my shades. They started rolling down my face. I couldn't tell in that moment what I was more humiliated by. Was it that I'd just spent $10,000 on a stunt that had more people robbing me than anything else? Or was it that everyone was staring at me and I couldn't control their fear because I just kept being scarier? Maybe now it was that I was sitting at an award show, and while everyone was having fun, I was here crying to myself. There's a word for it all. Manic. Great word. That definitely sums it all up. Very manic. When you're in a manic state, you don't even need sleep. You can stay up for hours and hours, even days. It's that ego for sure. Your body is constantly ready to go. Your mind is racing and you can either be super happy or super mad while being as inappropriate as possible, doing and saying things with no remorse. Little things can mess you straight up. And then you just continue the cycle and start over when new stimuli trip the wires in your brain. Could be bright lights, could be loud noises, even voices, louder than the ones in your head. It's probably the worst high you can ever have. But when you add to that high with drugs, Well, that's really when all hell breaks loose. But then there's the aftermath of it all, the exhaustion, the shame, and even the bouts of depression. It's only then that you're aware of what's happening. So you start looking around and wondering what the hell even happened. It makes you sad. It makes you cry. Manic sounds scary. I might not have understood that then, but I know it now. You can definitely believe that. I'm pretty sure you do, pal. Okay. Underneath it all, though, there was this act of rebellion. The paparazzi were snapping my photos at that award show, not knowing that right before I was thinking security was out to get me. They didn't hear the inner dialogue. They just saw a rapper throwing money and smiling like a star. That's the part that keeps feeding you, right? So even if a part of me felt intense shame to the point where I was crying at the Nokia Theater while everyone else was laughing and smiling, I was still going to smile when they were looking at me. Scared or not, they were going to see me looking carefree. The question is, who's more scared of whom? I guess you have a good point. I mean, you're walking the red carpet. It has like this sort of understanding about it. Paparazzi, cameras, lights, a lot of it's a lot going on. This is MTV VMAs, so you probably got like post. You may have to talk to somebody, answer a few questions or something like that. Look at this camera, like I mean, I've never walked the red carpet before, but I'm saying I've seen it before. It's levels to it. But for sure, it's going to be paparazzi there. It's going to be cameras and stuff there. So, to be honest, I was just done. Right. So much of that time, I just kept pushing myself and pushing myself. I showed up. I recorded. I acted up. I got arrested. I went to jail. I got back out. It was a cycle, doused with lean and more pills. I had a whole canon of songs, enough to release countless mixtapes and albums. Some of the music never saw the light of day and never will, because I was just so incoherent that it didn't even sound like songs. It all just sounded like a mess. There was this one song though that I released later on called I'm a Star. I don't remember much of the day when I recorded that song, only that I was practically the highest that I had ever been. I had pop pills, drunk some lean. I was so high that I was barely pronouncing the words on that song. Somehow, I stayed on beat. But most importantly, I really believed that this was what stardom was. I'm a star. And I couldn't even put words together. Something had to give. It always do. It always do. Especially when you're spiraling. I think I have to appreciate, again, my sanity, because you find yourself a lot more in control. And the more that you're able to maintain that control, the better equipped you are, when life throw you a curveball. You're able to kind of manage and bounce back and keep a positive mindset, progress moving forward. You don't beat yourself up, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't fall into this negative downward spiral because oh my god, like, you just kind of keep moving, keep moving. So, sir, you ain't learning no lessons. You just so we let's see what happened. Tick tick tick. I saw his fist getting closer and closer to my face, out of the corner of my eye. I didn't even flinch. His black rubber gloves gripped the needle, and I could see the sharp point coming at me. Any sudden move, and I would have been blinded. I didn't care. Blind me then. Oh, the ice cream on his face, Lord. The tattoo artist looked concerned. Are you sure about this? The ink you want is really close to the eyes. It felt like he asked me that 15 times, but really it was probably just the second time. My regular tattoo artist would have probably never let this happen. But this was a complete stranger, someone I could order around. Here we go. Just like he was ordering Zaytoven around. Keep going, I responded. That wasn't a request either. It was a command. Later that day, the headline read, Gucci Mane gets ice cream tattoo on his face. I'm like, ice cream? A cone. All right. You want to talk about a viral moment? The news headline that made every hip hop website cite a lot of money from all the traffic. This was it. It was even bigger than hip hop, though. It was global. But the headline right before it should have told everyone that something was up. Gucci Mane committed to mental health facility. I was no stranger to my name in the news, for better or worse. New album, new single, new mixtape, new arrest. To the media, it's all the same when you're a rapper. When it came to me, it seemed like you couldn't have one headline without another right behind it. But in 2011, it was on a whole other level. Months of my life that year were spent in a, what is that? Catatonic? I think it's a catatonic. It gotta be. That's the only, okay, catatonic, state. Let me look it up. Let me see what's going on with it. Where my computer at? I don't know what catatonic is. Um, that's the only word that I could see that being. But let's see what catatonic is. What is that? Psychiatric syndrome. Most commonly seen in people with underlying mood disorders, such as major depressive. Oh, goodness. You okay? Y'all ain't taking on out today, honey. Um, is caused by what is catatonic behavior? Okay. Oh, Okay, catatonic behavior is a psychomotor syndrome characterized by a range of abnormal movements from a severe reduction to an excess of movement. Okay. What did he say? What he said? Go back. Okay. Months of my life that year were spent in a catatonic state. I felt inside. DEAD. Um, okay, she was giving me a different than Wikipedia. Neuropsychiatric syndrome. It's commonly seen in people with mood disorders and stuff like that. Okay. I'm like, what is AI talking about? She had a little different. The fire was out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I sat in my jail cell and looked around at the pale walls, steel bars, the disgusting effing metal toilet in the corner. Ooh, wee. I hated how much it looked more like a weekend home to me than a prison at this point. It was like I had given up. And even worse, it felt way beyond my control. You know, jail will do that to you, job. Prison, well, yeah. The way in which people were gawking at me all the time, though. I was also gawking at myself. At a distance, like I was off to the side observing, watching. Like drivers on a freeway going slowly past a car accident to assess the damage or the destruction of the lives of the strangers. That was me. Looking at me like a stranger. Maybe my inner spirit was the one watching me. That person deep down inside who still really wanted to function and still really wanted to live. But I was on the outside of myself and just seeing this shell of a man, wondering when my entire life went left. You can't feel ish, I heard the voice say. Yes, I can, I said out loud. My voice bounced around the prison cell, through the space between the bars and into the hallway. Prove it. Uh-oh. I hung my head down. Was my heart fighting with my brain to wake the F up? Or was it my brain with the common sense still left? But my brain was glitching. So how was it even possible to have any sense left? I was confused, I was tired, but most of all, I was numb. Told you I can't feel ish. Okay, ooh. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I said that we had break. We'll be back to finish chapter 4 tomorrow. That was a great place to stop. Great place to stop. Great place to pick up. I got an hour, 23 minutes. Thank you for your time, everybody. Thank you for your assistance in this matter. I appreciate everyone spending a little time with me today on this beautiful, lovely Sunday. Relax, I got it. But in the meantime, in between time, okay? Love you, bye. Mwah. Love you, bye. Mwah.